Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today I'm diving into one of the critical topics in global communication is culture and cross-cultural understanding. Specifically, I will be examining the significant differences between Eastern culture and Western culture. Before we begin to the material, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Masbukin Abdul Jabbar with name 24, 2020, and 28 from class A. Okay, let's start with the foundation. What is the culture? Culture is not just a food, music, or clothing. Culture is customs, lifestyle, way of life, and society. It is a system of values, belief, and practice that enables each to culture to solve a universal problem in its own unique way. For example, as a Muslim, women should wear a hijab. Or Indonesia likes go together everywhere, especially when we gossip. And Western, like personal life, it shows the different culture between Indonesian and Western countries. The definition led us to the two fundamental characteristics of culture. The first is culture is learned. You are not born with culture, you acquire it through a lifelong process called inculturation. We learn it from our parents, our school, our friends, and our media. This means culture is not based on biology, but on our social environment. It can change and can be taught. The second is culture is shared. Culture is a group phenomenon. It provides a common framework interpreting and generating behavior among its members. If only one person follows a certain custom, it is a habit. If an entire community follows it, it is a culture. Okay, to understand the culture, I want to highlight three components that shape daily life. The first is education. This refers to the systems a society used to transmit knowledge, values, and skills. This includes formal schooling, but also the formal lesson taught at home about morality and social norms. The priorities in education reflect the priorities of the culture. The second is customs. There are the established is long-standing tradition passed down through generation. For example, Lebaran mudik in Indonesia and giving trip in America. There are custom. The third is manners. This is the etiquette or the polite and appropriate ways individuals interact in social situation, while customs are what a society does, manners define the level of respect. Okay, moving from culture to the skilled cross-cultural understanding or CCU is more than just knowing a few facts about another country. It is ability to recognize, interpret, respect, and then appropriately rate to the different cultural behaviors and perspectives. It means when someone from a different culture behaves in a way that seems confusing to you, you don't judge it instantly. Instead, you step back and look for the cultural root of the behavior. Next, why is deep understanding important for us? In modern, globally interconnected field, whether you are pursuing a career in technology, business, or in international relations, CCU is crucial. Foundation for literary and textual analysis. Understanding the characteristic and elements of culture like share, custom, manners, and values is essential because every piece of literature is a culture artifact. Without a grasp of the authors and characters, culture, context, and English major cannot accurately. Cross-cultural understanding allows you to look beyond the literal plot and decode the underlying societal rules that govern the narrative. The framework we've been using was developed by anthropologist Edward T. Hall. He proposed that cultures fall along a spectrum defined by how much importance they place on the context of the message. In low context culture like the US, the communicator needs to be very explicit. If I tell you to meet me at 2 p.m., everything you need to know in those 4 words. In high context, like Indonesia, the context itself carries most of meaning. The communicator uses body language, silent reputation, and relational history to convey information. Now, let's apply this lens to the contrast between East and West culture. We can characterize Indonesian culture as typically Eastern and high context. Communication here is often implicit, indirect, relationship, and focus. Conversely, American culture is typically Western and low context. Communication is explicit, direct, and task focused. Just tell me what you need is the operating principle. Okay, consider a simple business scenario or in negotiation. In Indonesia, will likely spend significant time on informal activities first, sharing meals, asking about family, and establishing a deep personal bond. The business discussed is often introduced subtly. Why? Because for them, the contract success is based not just on the paper, but on the trust forged between the people signing. An American negotiator will usually get straight to the point. They present the contract, focus on the written details, and they aim for efficiently. Their motto is time is money. Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to finish the stars. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.